All right, there we go. Hi, I'm Seattle Mike, Fights with Friends. I got a special guest with me today, Carlan Gracie from Brazil. Thank you so much for joining us, Carlan. I really appreciate you taking the time and dealing with a few of my technical difficulties in the background there.
Not a problem. I was so happy to be here. Thank you for giving me this invite. I always like to talk about MMA and jiu-jitsu and the current state of affairs of what's going on in the fight world. So, tell me a little bit about your channel and what your objectives are, um, since I'm new here.
Yeah, on this channel, we do a weekly fight companion, is what we call it, where I do the commentary on the fights. If there's a breaking
Yeah,
story, like we were talking about off air, I reported on the Ryan Garcia test sample, the B test sample that was breaking news coming back today, and then just interview awesome members of our MMA community like yourself, and it's just an absolute blast because I never would have dreamed when I started like how approachable guys are. I've talked to guys like from Art Davie to Randy Couture, and I used to get
yeah,
so nervous because it's like I kind of idolized some of those guys, when I was
oh,
younger.
yeah.
So it was a bit nervy at first, but you're part of the Gracie clan. You are from that family.
Yeah, but I'm going to tell you an interesting story. All right. And this is going to be hard to believe, but um, I never knew that I was part of the family until I actually came to Brazil. All right. Now, hear me out. My father was a businessman. He put me in judo when I was a kid and mentioned about jujitsu and the Gracie family. But when I was young, it was just like, well, what's that? I was living in the U.S. My mother's from the U.S., my father's from Brazil. There are many Gracie family members that are not involved in jujitsu. And my father did it as a kid. And then when he got older, he just, you know, but there are many people in the Gracie family. I met a guy the other day. His name is Andrew Gracie. He's a DJ. He's part of the family, but not involved. Carlos had 21 kids. Elio had 10, Horian had 10. The Gracie families back then had a lot of children. And then those children, like Carly, Elio, um, Carlos, George, Oswaldo, you know, all had kids, so, and they all had big families. Other than George, I think he maybe had one child or something, but normally every Gracie family member, if he's a male, would have at least 5 or 6 kids. And not all the kids were practitioners of jujitsu, even some of the male men. Like I know there's Wilberth Gracie, he's like 35. He doesn't do jujitsu, he's a businessman.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of people like Wilberth is part of the family. He's Carlian's son. Now, Carlian did jujitsu, but then later got out of it and became a businessman. So my father is related to Elio, Carlos, Gaston, Oswaldo, and George, the 5 brothers that were given the art from Mitsumi Maeda. So we're actually cousins, but I never knew that. When I lived in the States, people say, oh, the last name. And I'd be like, no, I'm not related. I don't know nothing. Even though I did do judo, and then later on in 1992, I started jiu-jitsu. But it was only when I came to Brazil that I actually found out that our family is related. And that was one of the main reasons I actually came to Brazil, was to find out, because I lived in the States. I fought under a different name, when I did do, and I fought in smaller shows, nothing that is even online. I mean, when I fought, It was like 96 to 2000. The internet wasn't even really going, if you know what I mean, until the late 2000s. So if you search my name, you're not going to get much because, I'm not big on photos, although I do have photos of myself. When I did do some of the fights in the U.S., I fought in Louisiana, Montreal, Florida, Texas, but these were smaller shows, and there were only three rules: no biting, no eye poking, and what was the other one? No biting, no eye gouging, and no fish hooking.
Oh, yeah, yeah, the fish hook. I always forget that one too.
You know, and I mean, you could strike to the groin, you could kick a guy when he was down. I mean, when I fought, it was vicious. But I competed six times. I won all my fights and then I retired. I got out of it because when I fought, there was no money in it.
Yeah,
Remember, I'm 61 now. I'm 61 years old. So, I aged out and I didn't want to be fighting at 35, 40. So I
yeah.
focused on teaching. Which I feel was the right decision.
Yeah, well, you got
But
to
yeah,
pass on the torch and teach the new generation
yeah,
a lot more about fighting. I learned a lot more through martial arts than about fighting. I mean, fighting was awesome to learn, but I learned more things that were much more important. I'll say judo. Judo
yeah,
and my church group that I ended up when I was young, like they saved
yeah,
my life because of
yeah,
where I grew up and the personality I had at the time. Like I could have gotten in a lot of trouble. And I got a sensei my freshman year. He was actually my Spanish teacher, Oscar Garnica, and he brought judo to our high school sophomore year. And that was the only. There's no way I would have graduated. I had zero interest in school, and
yeah,
and that really, yeah, taught me fighting, which worked, helped me out actually in security jobs and different things.
yeah.
Just being able to detain people without you don't want to hurt people if you don't have to.
Exactly. I agree. Yeah, and I mean, I think the one thing I like about judo is like you're basically smashing somebody's body on the ground.
Yeah,
And you could do a nice ogoshi ochimata, a nice hip throw on the cement. The person isn't going to be jumping out to start swinging at you, you
exactly.
know.
And
And
everybody's wearing a gi. You got a big jacket, it's like, man, you
oh
messed up,
yeah,
buddy.
yeah, but even a t-shirt you could throw people. If you know how to grip properly, you could throw people.
Yeah.
Or you could foot sweep. You can do really
Yep.
good foot sweeps. Do a foot sweep to a knee on the belly, and then just be pointing at the guy going, "Look, have you had enough?" And
Yeah.
he'll probably be thinking second thoughts. And I love the videos that you see online of people like uh Sarah, what's his name? Matt Sarah
Oh yeah.
in the restaurant where he's controlling this unruly patron who's drunk,
Yeah.
who comes in and starts, and he's just sitting on him, holding his hands like, what would they call that in the older days? The schoolboy pin, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but now they call it the mount, like I'm an old head, so, and I think the biggest challenge today, and I think you agree with me, is that the UFC has changed into BJJ is no longer unto itself uh, a way to win a fight. If you don't know how to wrestle,
Yeah.
no, I mean wrestle, like singles, doubles, duck unders, side sacrifice, ankle picks, and top control, good side pins, or what they call side control in BJJ. You don't have good positioning and good hold downs. Your BJJ, yes, the biggest problem with wrestlers when they get into BJJ is they they shoot in with the head on the outside. They get caught in a ghillie,
Yeah.
the guillotine. So, I mean, but you teach a wrestler BJJ, oh my God. Now, that's when we're talking grappling. Okay, if we're talking grappling as a means of BJJ, Sambo, wrestling, judo, any other grappling art there is. And then you have the stand up, which is Western boxing, Savat, Muay Thai, kickboxing, Kung Fu, karate, I mean, you name it. You know, Mashida and Wonder Boy came from karate, but they did fairly well for themselves in the UFC. Being karate people, which you never would have thought, but they trained well enough to blend.
Yeah.
You know,
You were talking about this, BJJ not being enough. I felt like Damian Maya he was kind of like that last bastion. It's like he had a little bit of striking, a little bit, but he was mostly BJJ, and he beat a lot of good guys for a long time. But I felt like he could have really hit that next level and definitely been a champion if he had added a few things to that too.
yeah, I think his jujitsu was amazing, but his hands, you give his jujitsu a 10 and then you give his striking like a 6.
Yeah.
And in order to compete, you need your striking up to be an 8, at least an 8, And, but I always loved watching Demian Maia,
Yeah.
always loved watching his fights. And now there's some new Brazilians coming up that are mixing well with, they're getting the wrestlers in there. Do you remember Daryl Golar?
Doesn't sound familiar.
Okay, Daryl Golar in the early 90s used to teach at the Beverly Hills Jiu-Jitsu with Mark Kerr, Bas Rutten, Oleg Taktarov, all those guys. I trained there. I mean, I didn't train there 100%. I was a Carlan Gracie student, but I used to go to different schools just to check out what was
Yeah.
going on. And they call it, back then it was the Beverly Hills Jiu-Jitsu, and they're still there. The guy who runs it, his name is Marcus Vinicius. I believe he's still running the academy there.
I have
But
heard
all
that
the
name.
yeah, but I mean, you remember Mark Kerr and Oleg
Oh
and
yeah.
those guys. And the other Russian guy, what was his name? He trained down in Huntington Beach. I forget his name. Not Oleg. I can't remember now. But I can picture his face, but I can't remember the name.
UFC guy?
Yeah, he was a UFC guy for a while.
Trying to think. I know
But
Alexei
I
Olenek
can't.
was over there, but maybe that was a little older. Yeah.
What was his name?
Alexei Olenek?
No, Olnick, he's a new guy. I'm talking in the 90s.
Okay. Yeah.
When they had Rico Chiapparelli. Do you remember Rico
Yeah.
Chiapparelli?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking old school here. Like when I trained, these were the guys that were, like in and out of what's his name? The leg lock guy who had the ponytail got beat up. Eric Paulson.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I was of that early 90s, early mid 90s. Well,
Right
when those
before the
guys,
UFC came about, and then
yeah,
beginning of
yeah,
it.
yeah. And I was living in the US, and a friend of mine, people asked me, how'd you get connected with the UFC? And it was like, a friend of mine said, I know you're into judo, you might like this. And at first I thought it was the most barbaric thing I had ever seen. Because no weight classes,
Yeah.
and I just thought, what is this? But I understood the meaning of why the Gracie family did it. they wanted to market their art to the world. I totally get it. You know, Horian was a great marketer, you know, and he wanted to get the word out there. And, you know, he's now a multimillionaire and he's got a school. His sons have got the Gracie Academy and now running it for him. And, you know, but yeah, it's just he wanted to showcase at Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. And at that time, they were the best because nobody knew who they were or what they did.
Yeah.
And in that day and age, the common fan was a beer drinking, I want to see a knockout, a
Oh
knockout. You
yeah.
know, they
Well, and then,
was,
that's why I like Tank Abbott. Like I mentioned when I started, and I was in high school. You know, I was a freshman, junior in high school. He came in UFC 6. I was like, you know, I'm a teenager. He hits hard and knocks people out.
yeah, and Scott Ferozzo,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know,
I'm friends with Scott. Actually, he's a pretty nice guy.
has he been able to lose some weight?
He has. He's slimmed down quite a bit. I don't think he does near as much like grappling and stuff, but he got really into weight training, and
Yeah,
yeah, he looks really good.
good for him because I remember, you know, when he was fighting, he was really grossly obese. And,
Yeah,
you know, you look at these people and you hope that they find their way and, you know, but yeah, so, I mean, I'm an old head, you know, I come from the old school just because of my age, but every weekend I'm watching the UFC. I'm watching it and I watch all the fights and I work as a fight analyst. And what a fight analyst is people contact me. They send me their videos from two different angles and they want me to correct what they've done wrong. So if they make a mistake, whether it be, you know, they're not using their footwork, they're not pulling their head off the center line, you know, I give them advice and they pay me for that. So I make money doing that. And I do a lot of seminars and I work in tourism here as well in Rio. So I have like 3 or 4 different jobs.
it sounds like a very fun life. What year did you come to Brazil? You said you were in the United States.
I left the United States, I think it was like the beginning of 2000. I originally came back in 2007 to make contact with family. Now, family being my father, his brother, you know, like my immediate family, because my father was here and I was in the States. So I decided to come back because I had been using another name, and I don't want to mention the name, it's not important. People that know me know my story, but I didn't want attention on me.
Yeah,
You know, because the Gracie name can attract good people or bad people. You could attract people that always want to pick fights with you.
yeah.
And that was the thing that I wanted to avoid. So I would always say my name's Carlan Hanato or Carlan Hanato Fadera or, you know, when I got to know people and felt I could trust them, then I would tell them my last name. But whenever I fought, I always fought under another name because I didn't want the pressure. Too much pressure, especially back when I fought, because when I fought, all the Gracies were fighting and winning. Henzo, Half, Hyan, all those guys were winning their fights. You
I
know what I'm
can't
saying?
imagine that pressure. Oh yeah, you guys were on top of the world. Like yeah, when I watched the first UFC on VHS, it's like people knew jujitsu, but they still didn't realize a lot of people how it worked. Because I remember I went in the Air Force straight out of high school, and I'd been doing judo. I'd been competing every week, so I was pretty practiced up. And there was a state championship wrestling guy there, and you
Good.
know he's like he goes for a double leg. I immediately pull a gilly, and this guy's choking, and somebody, he doesn't tap yet though. And one of the drill sergeants come in. Of course, we all jump up and everybody's like, "Oh, he kicked your ass, Mike." I'm like, "You don't understand. You want to do that again?" And the guy says, "No, I do not want to do that again." So
Yeah,
he told him, he's
exactly.
like, "No, you don't." He's like, you don't understand what you were seeing there.
Yeah, I mean, I remember fighting in a jiu-jitsu tournament, and one of my first opponents, with the gi, and we tied up. I got thrown on my ass. And you know what? I was a judo black belt, but I wasn't a very good one. I mean, I got the black belt. I deserved it, but I didn't compete a lot in judo. I switched to jiu-jitsu. So in Toronto, Canada, where I lived for some time, I competed in a tournament. First thing, got thrown on my ass. But as soon as I got thrown, I continued the momentum and came up right to side control, then took their back and choked them and got the tap out. But being thrown
Nice.
being thrown with somebody who practices judo
Yeah,
every day, whoa, it was a surprise. To be
I'm
thrown on
sure
my
judo
ass,
still helped you in jujitsu a lot.
it does now because I see more value in it. The only thing that I'm really concerned about judo throws is when you're turning your back. The idea of
Yeah,
turning your back to your opponent, you better make sure you have your grip secure and that they can't jump on your back. That you have their sleeve and you're under their arm and you got their collar and you do that. You turn in, like if you're doing a Seonagi throw,
yeah,
I put Seonagi or Moroto Seonagi, you gotta get in there and you gotta make sure that you do that throw right away. You don't want to stand there with this guy behind you.
yeah,
And especially in MMA, especially in
yeah,
MMA. MMA, I prefer foot sweeps, um, and I prefer to take people down off the cage
yeah.
because for me, I just feel it's easier
You
than
were telling me
standing
off
out in the
camera you
open.
feel a lot of guys need to use the cage more when they take people down.
Well, this is the thing is I'd like to see more people training. I go to schools and they're doing this and that, but not a lot of cage work. I mean, the cage is like, a third arm,
Yeah, yeah,
because you can use it as support. You don't have to grab it, but just the way you position yourself. I used to do good uchimatas off the cage.
oh
I
yeah,
would get it. I would get it underhook on their right arm, take their left arm, turn, and then sweep my left leg between their legs and get them in an Uchimata, and then pin them sideways in the
yeah,
cage. And then control that far wrist and then just boom, boom, boom. You know, kind of like what you see. I don't know if Khabib, I need to really watch more. His takedowns are more singles and doubles.
yeah. He's trained a little
Or a
bit of
high
judo, I
crotch.
know.
Yeah, or a high crotch. He likes to run the pipe into a high crotch, and I wasn't. I was a better ankle picker, though. I could do a good, because what I'd do is I'd set it up with a foot sweep.
Mm,
And when they lifted the foot, I'd go in and grab the ankle
yeah,
and then just force their energy back. And so,
I've always thought that the guys in judo that could really chain those attempts together would really do good in MMA. I loved how Rhonda and Kayla, they used, like you said,
yep,
they used the Tayatoshi a lot too,
yep,
because
yep,
you're you're moving
because it's
in the
there.
air and controlling your position before you land.
Yeah. And Rhonda was excellent with the throws. Just too bad she didn't have a good striking coach. And I
Yeah,
like Rhonda. I mean, people give Rhonda a lot of shit, but
I'm a huge
you
Rhonda
know,
fan.
Rhonda grew up rough.
Yeah,
There was a point in time, people don't know, but Rhonda lived in her car.
yeah,
There was a time when she was homeless and lived in a car, and you know, she was just she her character I guess, rubbed people the wrong way.
Yeah.
Some people the wrong way. Me, I sort of was just trying to promote the fight.
Yeah.
I don't like when people bring family into trying to promote a fight or drama.
I
Like
don't either.
like Conor McGregor went overboard with Khabib, talking about his wife and his religion. It's like, you know what? Leave that shit out of it.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
don't talk about a man and his family.
Yeah.
It's not necessary. You want to say you want to kick the guy's ass? Okay, that's fine. That's part of the fight game.
Yeah.
People used to ask me, they would interview me before going in. They'd be like, "So how do you feel?" I'd say, "I feel good." And they'd be like, "So how do you feel about your opponent?" I'd be like, "Well, two people go in, we do our business, and we leave.
Yeah.
Whoever wins is the better man, the better opponent, whoever, but I get nothing against this person.
Yeah.
Like I don't care where they grew up. I don't, I mean, I don't know. I don't do research on backgrounds of my opponents. Sure, you watch tapes.
Yeah.
Back in my day, we watched VHS or CDs of people's fights, but I don't care where they're from or what religion and I certainly wouldn't insult their family.
No, yeah, that was just yeah, that really turned me off when a few fighters did that. It's like, is it not enough to get in the head of the opponent? And like I'll admit, because like I said, I had a propensity to, I could have went the wrong direction before I got into judo. I'll
Yeah,
admit now, I always bowed to my opponent, but outside of that, I was a very poor sport. I didn't talk to anyone. If anybody said anything to me, I would come up with the absolute most intimidating thing I could possibly say to them. And if they got any contact from me, I would just stare them down from across the room. And I felt
yeah,
like it was a weakness to get close to anybody that was in any school I might compete against. And I was wrong, but I was young.
yeah. Well, I mean, when we're young, we sometimes do stupid things. I was always a good sport because I didn't want to draw a lot of attention to myself
Yeah.
because I was afraid I'd get exposed.
Mm.
People, eventually, when I came back to Brazil, I didn't use the Gracie name. I did a lot of research under under the radar because I didn't want to say, "Oh yes, I'm related to the family," and then it not be true because then people are like, "Oh, you're pretending to be a member of the family," and
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
And my dad, unfortunately, passed away in 2009,
Sorry to hear that.
and he was an alcoholic. I didn't have the best relationship with him. So trying to get information out of him was like trying to get information out of a rock. He just wouldn't talk about anything with me. He was too caught up. When he got older, the bottle was his friend,
Yeah.
and unfortunately, he passed on due to cirrhosis of the liver. God bless his heart. I hope he's in a better place, but we were never really close. He always used to say to me, "Oh, you'll never amount to anything. You're a loser. You're this."
Oh,
So I never wanted to be around that. My mentors were my judo teachers and my
yeah.
jiu-jitsu. I used to do bicycle racing when I was younger as well, surfing, nothing at high levels, nothing at like, but I'd compete in a few bike races, 5Ks, 10Ks, swimming, a kilometer or whatever, or, I was always involved in some kind of sport, but
So I don't think I've heard anybody really talk about this or touch this. I know Hoist was a surfer. You talked about surfing. Seems like a great way to get really good balance and really control of your body and your weight.
surfing is probably one of the most difficult things to do because you have no control over the waves. You have no control when the wave will break. You have to read number one, before you even go surfing, you need to check the surf conditions. Because if you get a cross, like a cross where one wave is coming in and out and they meet, they could be like, I forget what they call it, but it's dangerous. If you fall into that seam, they could pull you out to the sea and you could
Yeah.
drown.
Yeah.
So, uh, you know, it's probably one of the most difficult things I've ever done. And, I was okay, but I never won anything.
Yeah.
But I didn't do it for that. I did it because it was fun.
Yeah.
You know, I rode bikes because it was fun to ride a bike, and bicycles were good for the legs. I always remember seeing these bicyclists with these big muscular legs,
Yeah.
where you see most human beings, they don't train their legs, right?
Yeah.
Most men, they don't train their legs. It's all upper body. I need to have a big chest and big arms, but yeah, the legs. I was always amazed at the legs that um, the bicyclists would, or rowers too. Rowers had big backs though. Their
Oh yeah.
back, yeah, their backs were huge. By the way,
That's
I have a cat here, so
very cool. Yeah, speaking of that and biking, it's like I look at some of these MMA guys that have such skinny legs, and maybe some of it is a little by design for weight classes. Like I know Tito Ortiz, he was pretty big for 205 if he had any legs, but it's like, man, do these guys never bike like Tito and John Jones? And it's just,
yeah, but Cheeto was like 6'3",
yeah,
and he walked around at like 220, 225.
yeah, I know it's a pretty
So,
good drop for him.
uh, but he was also a college wrestler.
Yeah.
Do you know his first few fights in the UFC? He wasn't allowed to accept money because he was on scholarship.
Oh yeah, I remember hearing about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
I
18,
remember
19 years old.
I remember we were coming back from a fight that I had in Texas, and he was on the card. And this was in 96 or 97, I can't remember, but there was a small Vale Tudo or MMA fight there. And what happened is on the flight back, well, first of all, it was in McAllen, Texas, which McAllen, Texas is very, very close to the border of Mexico. So the fight was in McAllen, but we flew out of San Antonio. Funny story about Tito. I don't know if he'll remember this, but we were all in a van. There was a group of us. It was all fighters and coaches. There was me, my coach, and then Tito, John Lober, and a few other people that were fighting on the card. I can't remember now. They don't fight now, but um, we're in the van and we're driving back, and there's a certain part of Texas where you go through north of McAllen towards San Antonio where there's a checkpoint. And we see the checkpoint, and all of a sudden Tito's like, yeah, we gotta hide the weed. We gotta hide the weed. Hide the weed. And I'm like, what, you guys? You got weed in here? What the fuck? Like I freaked out because, not so much because of the weed, but I didn't want to be assumed to be a user
Yeah.
because at that time I wasn't using anything, and they found a way to hide it. I don't know how they did it, but we got stopped. Our van got stopped, and out piled a bunch of fighters, and the cops are probably thinking, "Look at this raggedy bunch. Who are these guys?" So the coaches stepped up and said, "Yeah, we're just coming from McAllen, Texas, and of course, the dogs are fucking sniffing the car, and we're
Totally.
all like, and I'm sitting there with my hands crossed, and I'm like doing one of these.
Yeah.
Please, please don't find the weed. Don't find the weed. Please, God, help us. In my mind, I'm doing that. And they didn't find the weed. I don't know what the guys, I think they put it in their pants or something. I don't know. But they stayed away from the dog, which was a good thing.
Yeah.
Me, I went up to the dogs because I had nothing, because but there was like a bench they had us all sit on. And I don't know where they put that weed or how, whatever they did, but they hit it. And we got in the car and we driving back to San Antonio to get our flights. I'm like, you guys, what the F? What were you thinking? We could have got busted. And they were all laughing about it because I'm freaking out because, I don't smoke weed,
Yeah.
like, and I don't judge.
Yeah.
But then we get to the airport. Who's sitting next to me on the in the airlines on the airplane but Tito Ortiz? And I'm like, Tito, what are you doing here? You should be with your team. And I go, do you want to sit with John? I'll switch seats with John. Because John Lober was his best buddy. I says, if you want, I'll switch with John, and you can sit with your buddy John and I'll go sit wherever John is. He says, no, 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 I'm fine. So he sat back and he told me how Dana White was his representative, and he was training with what's his name,
Chuck Waddell.
Chipperelli.
Oh,
At the
okay.
time he was training with this guy Chipperelli. I forget the guy's first name, Mario Chipperelli. I forget his name, but he was a really good grappler. And Matyashenko. They would train Matyashenko. Was it Igor Matyashenko?
I think it's Vladimir
Oh,
Monashenko.
Vladimir Matyashenko. There was them, Matyashenko, Rico. The guy's name was Rico Chiapparelli, um, Tank, and Tito, Lober, and there were a few others. That was kind of like their core of people.
Yeah.
But yeah, what a raggedy bunch they were. But Tito was just starting. I think he was like 21, 22 when I fought, and he was still part of the college thing. So he couldn't outwardly receive money from the UFC. Otherwise, he would have lost his scholarship. And I can't remember maybe he was going to Huntington Beach at community college. I don't know. But he got a scholarship and he couldn't accept money. Otherwise, he'd lose his scholarship. So
Yeah.
we had a lot of things to talk about. We just talked about fighting and, nothing personal. I never got into the guy's personal life.
Yeah.
We just talked about fighting, but good conversations. I never had any problems with Tito. Tito was always respectful to me. I was always respectful to him. John Lober, kind of rough around the edges, type of guy that would probably pick a fight in a bar.
Yeah.
Not the sharpest knife in the drawer, but nice guy again to me. No issues, no problems, and yeah, good people. But that was the crew back then, and then you had what's his name, teaching the leg locks, Paul, what was his name, the guy that had the ponytail. Oh, Eric Paulson. Eric
Yeah.
Paulson was big back then, and I got to train with them. And I used to do a little bit of dojo hopping, because I wanted to learn different things. And one person in the Gracie family used to dojo hop. Do you know who that was?
Enzo, maybe?
No. Do you remember Holes Gracie?
Yeah.
Rolls. They
Yeah,
say Hollish in Portuguese, but rolls, right? In English rolls. He did sambo. He did freestyle wrestling. He did Greco-Roman wrestling. He did judo and he did jiu-jitsu. He was even better than Hickson.
really.
Yeah, and you can't believe everything that people say about the Gracie family.
Yeah.
They said that. Do you know Mark Tripp? Do you remember Mark Tripp?
No. I don't
He's
think so.
from Michigan. He beat Hickson in I think it was a judo competition. So I mean, there's all these stories about Hickson. Hickson was good, but Hickson disappointed me when he didn't defend the family name against Sakuraba.
Yeah.
Sakuraba beat Hoist, Henzo, Hyen, Hoyler, and you couldn't get Hickson to step up.
Yeah, he did. He adopted that name, the Gracie Killer, after that Hoist fight.
Yeah,
What an incredible fight! An hour and a half those guys went on, and I'm sure people that didn't know what was going on, some of them were bored to tears. But man, I love that fight.
yeah. I mean, Sakuraba is looked at very differently now within the Gracie family. They admire him and they welcome him. You know what I'm
Good,
saying?
good.
And he was a catch wrestler.
Yeah,
He was like a catch wrestler, learning from the pro wrestlers that in Japan, when you were a pro wrestler, it was part fake and part real. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
There was some scripting going on there, but there was also some real fighting going on there too. And yeah, just amazing what Sakuraba did. But he used to smoke like a chimney.
really.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's pictures of him on the smoking. It's just like, where do you get the wind, dude? Like, where do you get the wind
I know
to
there's some
fight?
guys that can do that. It's very rare. I can't remember who he is again now, but he fought, I want to say in like the 60s. He is a white guy with a big bald spot, but he was this guy that nobody could hit him. Guys would give up. He literally had knockouts because just guys got tired of trying to hit him, and he smoked him.
Yeah,
I can't remember his name now. I know Joe Rogan was actually talking about him not too long ago, but
yeah, yeah. But the old days were good, but there's a lot of good fighters now coming up
yeah,
that deserve their due. A lot of. Did you watch the fights this past weekend in Brazil?
I
Did you
did.
get a chance to?
I did. I was nice
Yeah.
to see Jose with a good win.
And he fought smart.
Yes. Jonathan
And
Martinez is a tough dude.
he is. He is. Um, but it was good to see the kicks coming back.
Yeah.
You know, seeing Aldo with the kicks. It was just like as soon as the fight started, in my mind I'm saying, come on, Jose, you need to do the kicks.
Yeah.
You have to kick. You gotta kick.
Yeah.
And yeah, just and Martinez, I don't know much about his background, but he seemed to be a good stand-up fighter. How
Yeah.
about his ground? How about his ground? Is he a ground fighter as well? Or
He's fairly well rounded. I think he's one of these younger guys that's kind of decent at everything. I think striking, yeah, is kind of his main strength. But yeah, he's one of these up and coming guys that could definitely be top five. I don't know if he'll be a champion, but he's very good.
what was the biggest thing that you noticed about how Jose fought? I got one thing that stood out immediately.
Well, he wrestled. I don't remember seeing him wrestling in the past. He got takedowns. That wasn't a Jose thing back in the day.
another thing, a lot of body shots.
Yes. Yes.
That was, I think, a big difference too in watching how Jose fought. It was just like good body shot,
Yeah.
liver shot, because that you get hit in the gut, you feel it.
Yeah.
And after round after round after round, but Jose is amazing. He's amazing.
I wondered who he
And
was working with, because like to be off for 2 years, I think of a lot of things that can happen. So you could blow up. Now you get to eat. He could blow up to 200 pounds. He could get out of shape. He could not train properly. There's so many things. And to see him come in, make weight at 135, show that, he's been training and still has all that stuff. You can tell, he didn't sit on the couch for 2 years. That's for sure.
the skill set impressed me,
Yeah.
because his punches were clean, crisp. He had a good jab,
Yeah.
head movement, foot movement. He didn't allow himself to be stuck on the cage,
Yeah.
fighting out of people trying to tie him up. They were on the cage a few times, but it wasn't for long.
Yeah.
It was good to see him fight in the middle and work the fight and use his foot movement. Head movement was good, and his counter punching was good as well.
Yeah.
And he would always follow up with like combinations. He
Yeah.
fought he fought a very smart fight. Very smart fight.
Yeah.
Not
I was very impressed.
to the casuals, they were looking, oh, it was boring. Oh, they didn't get the knock him. The casuals, right?
Yeah.
But no, I've always liked Jose Aldo. I've met him a few times, always respectful, always. Not a trash talker. I think the thing with Connor got in his head,
Yeah.
because Connor is like that.
Yeah.
I would love to see them go at it again. I think it would be a very different story. Connor is a very average fighter. He's not as good as they say. I mean, look at what Poirier did to him.
Yeah. And I feel like he had his time, like 2 or 3 years. He was hot. And then, I don't know, he's got money. I'm sure
Partied.
if I had $1 billion, I'd do the same thing. I wouldn't want to get punched in the face, but
Yeah, but I mean, I think the biggest thing I miss is that he never defended his belts.
yeah, that,
He got the belts.
that was
He got
bad.
the 2 belts, ran around the cage. Oh, I'm champion. The champion can do what he likes, blah, blah, blah. And then after that, it was like fighting Nate Diaz. Now, nothing
Yeah.
against Nate. I love
Yeah.
Nate.
Yeah.
Nate is a badass.
Yeah.
But that first fight against Nate, I mean, Connor looked like a white belt. Just
Oh yeah, yeah. He gassed out, and a lot of people probably don't know this, and some people do. But Connor had 2 belts in Cage Warriors, same exact thing, 2 weight classes. Never defended either one of them in Cage Warriors as well before he came to the UFC. So
yeah, I mean, he made his money. I wish
yeah,
he would just, after this fight, go off in the sunset. And he keeps twittering and stuff, making posts to be relevant. And it's like people are getting tired of it. Getting
yeah,
tired of it.
yeah. So what? Why do you need to be relevant? I mean, maybe he's got an ego, but it's like I don't know
He
what you.
likes, one thing, I'm going to tell you something that was hard for me when I was competing. When I was competing, I was on top of the world
Yeah,
and get a lot of attention. Now, I certainly didn't make anywhere near any of this money that these guys were making, not even an iota close, not even 1/100th of what they were making.
yeah,
But there's something about when you win and you're a champion and you win a belt or you win your division, you win a medal, and you're up on the podium, and people are like, clapping, and everywhere you go, people want your autograph or they want this or that, and there's something unique about that feeling wanted and needed. But then as time goes on, a lot of fighters have difficulty letting go,
Yes. Yeah, I
knowing
have talked to some
knowing
fighters
when
about
to
that.
retire, knowing when to say, okay, it's time to put the gloves down and walk away. I think Alistair Overeem and Arlovsky is still fighting, and he's like
Oh man,
what, 43,
I
and
think
it's
he might
like,
be like 45. Yeah, he's
yeah,
fighting
yeah.
forever.
And I just think it's time that those guys, move on to bigger, better things, and
Yeah.
let the new guys come in.
Yeah.
Like
Oh yeah,
this,
I agree.
what do you think of Tom Aspinall?
I think that guy is a stud, and I think he has a very good chance of beating John Jones.
I think he has a good chance too. John Jones wants no part of him.
Oh
He
yeah,
wants he wants Stipe, but Stipe's a badass too.
yeah,
I mean, he's a little older, but
yeah.
Stipe ain't no pushover.
Oh yeah, I'm a big
Stipe
Steve
was a
fan.
champion for a long time.
Yeah.
And what's going on with Francis?
Well, Francis is, he won the boxing match. He's scheduled to have,
But then he lost. He lost against
yeah, he lost to Anthony Joshua. He got knocked out, and it's like, I mean, two fights in boxing, to be honest, it's like that's what should happen. It's what should
yeah,
happen when you're fighting
exactly.
a boxer
Yeah.
that good.
And he's a multimillionaire now. He doesn't have to worry about money. So is he in the PFL?
He is, and I was just looking up because I can't remember when he's fighting, but I know he has a fight scheduled. It's against a big Brazilian guy, actually. That's like, oh man, the guy's like, I want to say like 6'10". The guy's huge.
Jesus. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I know where I'll find it. Uh,
Yeah,
Whenever I
but
want the most
Francis,
accurate stuff, the casinos are never wrong.
yeah, exactly. But Anthony Joshua, what a killer, man. But
Oh
yeah,
yeah, yeah, and that guy was hated on for a while. Boxing's culture can be so weird. It's like a guy loses once to a really good fighter, and they're like, "Oh, he's done." Uh,
yeah, I know it's boxing is really weird like that. It is what it is,
yeah. Oh, so this is not a definitive date yet. I guess it just says December 31st, which means it's in the future against Henan Fahea. But I don't know when Francis will be fighting again soon. I'm assuming maybe you didn't hear. It's probably 2 weeks ago now. His son died. His 18-month-old son.
Henan Fernandez.
No, Francis Ngannou's.
Oh, really? I didn't know he had a son.
I
I had
didn't
no
either. I don't.
idea
I
that.
think he kind of kept it. Didn't keep it real public. But yeah, he's in a pretty dark place right now. So I give him my
He had a
thoughts and prayers.
2-year-old son that died.
Yeah, I can't imagine what that
Holy
would be like.
shit.
Yeah.
Holy fuck, that's so sad.
Yeah. So I would imagine fighting it goes on the back burner for a bit.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, that's so sad.
Yeah.
Francis seems like a decent guy. I know the UFC tried to mess him around there a little bit because he was a good meal ticket.
Yeah.
Francis a meal ticket for the UFC, and when he got his free agency,
Yeah.
you know, because what did he make in his first fight with the Gypsy King? What did he make? 20 million or something?
Somewhere around there. Yeah. What more
And
than
then with
his entire
Joshua,
UFC career?
yeah, and then Joshua, he probably made about 20 as well.
That's what I figure. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he should be
So
set financially. now.
Well, yeah, as long as he's smart and doesn't go out and buy a bunch of stupid stuff like some of these guys do.
Yeah,
They get spoiled and they go out and buy yachts and planes and lose all their money. But yeah, yeah, it's I've always liked the way that um Francis talks as well. He
yeah.
comes across with that French accent. But he's quite intelligent for somebody who doesn't have a grasp of the English language.
Oh, absolutely. He's a very bright guy from everything I seen. I like people that are very soft spoken like that, and you know that
He
they're
is,
just
yeah,
killers.
yeah. And I mean, look at the body on that guy,
Man. Yeah, and then
shaped by coal mines and hard labor, hard
yep,
labor.
yep, yeah, digging sand, and I think it took him like 7 times to escape Cameroon. Like he kept getting caught, and yeah, that guy's
They
got an
send him
amazing life.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, who do you see as some of the biggest stars? What do you think of O'Malley?
Um, I kept thinking he was going to lose. To be honest, I thought he was overrated before the Aljo fight, and now I'm like, every time I say he's going to lose, he proves me wrong. I've got more respect for him as a fighter for sure. I I did not think he was going to beat Aljamain Sterling. I did think he was going to beat Marlon Vera. As much as I like Marlon Vera, I mean,
Yeah,
there's a game plan to beat Marlon Vera.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first fight was kind of a freak because he hurt himself or
Yeah.
something. But yeah, he's a very smart fighter. O'Malley
Oh
fights
yeah. Yeah.
very smart,
Yeah.
you
Well, he
know.
got Aljamain. He goaded Aljamain into saying he wouldn't go for takedowns. I'm like, are you crazy, Aljamain? What are you? You're the best wrestler, maybe bantamweight's ever had, and you're gonna duke it out with this guy?
Yeah, exactly. It's just, but I mean, I think what happens is you get people, their egos, their
Yeah.
egos control a lot.
Yeah.
And that's the problem is the ego.
Yeah.
Oh, I have to prove myself
Yeah.
that I can stand and bang with this guy,
Yeah.
you know. I like Henry Cejudo,
Yeah.
but
Me too.
I think he needs to work more on his stand-up combinations and chaining them with his wrestling.
Yeah. He's been working with Mike Tyson some. I know he was. I seen a video of him, Mike Tyson, teaching him the peekaboo. And of course, anything can be done for a video, but it's like, I know the guy's smart. He catches on quick. And it's like Mike shows him twice and he's doing it as good or better than
Yeah.
Mike in 2 times.
Now you never know when the film was filmed, right? So
Yeah. Yeah. Like all these things. Oh, I kind of want to ask you that then, because what do you think about a guy almost 58 years old and Mike Tyson fighting Jake Paul?
well, you know what? I'm picking Mike Tyson. And the only reason being is I think Mike has something that um he has experience. Mike Tyson is still a savage.
Yeah.
He's still a fucking savage.
Yeah.
And I've seen the training videos. And I hope Mike knocks him out.
Me too.
Not because I don't like Jake Paul. I see what Jake is trying to do, and Jake has earned his right,
Yeah.
but he's been fighting competition that I mean, look who he fought. You know, the guys he fought were the MMA guys.
Ben
He
Askren.
fought,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, Ben doesn't have hands. I love Ben,
Yeah.
great wrestler,
Yeah.
but he was a wrestle ground and pound guy in
Yeah.
Bellator.
He got outstruck by Damian Maya.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, which is an amazing thing. It's like, what? By Damien?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Damien is not even a real striker. So, but then Tyron Woodley, And you know what? There's part of me that wonders if some of these fights are fixed. Because
I've
Thailand,
had that thought.
not with Askren, but with Woodley,
The first or the second?
the first.
Okay,
Which is the one that he got knocked out?
the second.
Okay, well, the second one. I don't know. I know Woodley is a better striker than what he showed in those boxing.
Yeah. And he
He's
took
a
the
better
second fight
striker.
on late notice. I do know that. I thought he did better in the first fight, but like also I'm like, dude, why are you not letting your hands go? It's like this doesn't kind of didn't make sense a little.
Yeah, this is boxing, and he knocked out plenty of guys in MMA.
Yeah.
So he has the ability to knock out people. So watching those fights, I was kind of like, I don't know about these fights. They don't look authentic. They look like he was either paid to take a dive, which I can see Woodley doing because Woodley needs the money.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
he got millions for
Woodley,
that fight.
yeah, Woodley needs money. He's got a family. He's got kids. His kids are teenagers now. They're going to be going off to college soon. He's got that house payment, you know. So I could understand,
Excuse me.
if he gets paid 10 million, he never got that in the UFC.
No, definitely not.
I think the thing that rubbed everybody wrong with Woodley is his always screaming racism.
A lot of people talk about that. A lot of people have told me they don't like Tyron Woodley because of that specifically. Yeah.
Everything was always racism. It's like, look, John Jones is black. There are a lot of black. Look at the beast, the black beast. He's a fan favorite.
Yeah.
Dana is not racist. Like, please get over yourself. Nobody
Yeah.
cares
I've
what.
never thought that he was. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, get over yourself in this racist
Yeah.
rant.
I felt kind of, I'm sure I was one of the only ones, but in a way, I kind of felt bad for Woodley because I could tell when he was saying a bunch of things and he was digging himself a hole that he believed it. And I'm like, man, somebody really needs to talk to you because you're really sabotaging your career. And then
You sabotage your career not only with the organization, but with the fans, because what the fans want, the fans get.
yeah,
And if the fans don't like your carrying on like
yeah,
that, you're not going to get the fights you want.
yeah. Well, and
UFC is going to make you sit.
yeah, and he's a charismatic guy. He can be very well spoken when he wants to be. He was starting to get some of these like little Hollywood roles and different things, and I think he really hurt himself with running the mouth, like like you said, and kind of upsetting the wrong people.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I like the guy. I mean, I liked watching his fights. He
Yeah,
was
me too.
always in tip-top shape. His fights were always exciting because you never knew whether he would submit or knock someone out.
Yeah.
You know, now the thing I want to know is what's going on with Colby Chaos Covington. Where's he hiding?
Yeah, I don't know. That's one of those guys that everybody knows how they feel about him. Either they they love him or they don't like him very much.
Yeah, but it's all an act. It's
Oh,
all an
I
act.
yeah, I know it's all an
That's
act,
all an
but
act.
I couldn't help but laugh when Fabricio Verdum hit him with that boomerang back in the day.
Oh yeah, and then he runs and calls the police. It's like, yeah. Well, because Brazilians, if they don't understand the context
Yeah,
of what's going on, they could think that you're being serious.
yeah,
I think Verdum thought that Colby was being serious, but Colby was just playing his character,
yeah.
right? So yeah, I mean, it just unfortunate, but And you know, I like watching Colby fight. I
He
like
puts on a
watching.
pace, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, and I mean he's a wrestler,
Yeah.
but he puts out a lot of volume.
Yeah.
He has cardio for ages.
Yeah.
But now Ian Gary has called him out, and I'd like to see them fight because Ian Gary rubs me the wrong way. I
He
don't know.
rubs a
There's
lot
just
of people the wrong way. He is very talented, though. I will say that. I
he
think
is
he is very
talented.
good.
He is talented, but his personality is very, I don't know, just I want to see a fight, dude. Stop talking and just get
Yeah.
in and fight,
Well, he
Enough
brought
of
the
the
family
drama.
into it.
Well, yeah, the wife and the this and
The
the
Neil Mag,
that.
the Neil, he went after Neil
Neil
Magny
Magny.
first, and then
Yeah.
other people went after and kind of, exposed what they thought was his flaws. And it's like, I'm like, that's kind of a bit of karma after you went after this guy's family like that.
Yeah. It's
Don't do
true.
that. Don't go after the family.
It's true. It's true. Leave the family out of it. Exactly. No, I agree 100%. Like you just leave family out of it. They're not part of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we got Neiman Gracie, who's fighting for Bellator,
Yeah.
and Igor Gracie. Neiman actually, his mother is a Gracie, and his father is, I don't know what his father, but his mother is a Gracie, but he took the Gracie name. A lot of Gracie families, Roger Gracie,
Yeah.
or they say Hodger. His father's name is Stambowski, and they live in England.
Oh, really?
Mother's a Gracie, but
Yeah.
he took the Gracie name. But one of the best jiu-jitsu guys who ever lived, Roger. He
Yeah.
could mount you and choke you, and you could not stop it. He had battle royales with Buchecha. Great jiu-jitsu gi fights.
Yeah.
Um, what I really have started to take an interest in, and I like the combination of mixture of grappling styles, is the ADCC.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I've watched some of that. I do like that too.
And the flow grappling. They have a subscription online you can watch.
Yeah. Gordon Ryan, man, that guy is unbelievable.
Oh yeah, King Gordon, yeah.
Yeah.
And his brother's not so bad either. Nicky Ryan is
Oh,
good.
yeah. Yeah.
He's young. He's young. He still has a few years to mature, but yeah, Gordon is just unbelievable. But I think he has a little bit of a chemical advantage.
Oh, absolutely. I'm like, I don't know what the testing is there, but it doesn't look like there's any.
I don't think in Abu Dhabi there's any. I don't think
Yeah.
there's any.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess it's none of my business. I don't, I don't like to see people doing things that aren't healthy for them, but I mean, it's their
I'd
choice.
rather, for me, I'd rather just see a clean sport. I
Yeah.
mean, steroids just to allow you to train longer and recover quicker. That's what they give you.
Yeah.
They don't make you do an armbar better
Yeah.
or a sweep better. They don't make your technique better. But more muscle mass
Yeah.
means more need for oxygen.
Yeah.
So you have to
That's true.
be aware of oxygen. You need oxygen to breathe. So,
Well,
but
my issue is, like, just pretend, me and you are the same age or whatever, and I'm trying to beat you, and I realize everybody there is on steroids. I'm not on steroids, or whatever guy that's not on steroids, they're kind of pressured. They almost kind of have to, because otherwise
yeah,
they're not going to be able to compete when guys are on such a high level.
yeah. Unfortunately, there's a lot of truth to that. It's quite unfortunate that they have that. The UFC, though, I mean, sometimes I wonder about them because they made exceptions for who is that pro wrestler, the big guy, what's his name, that won the gym, that was a WWE
CM
guy.
Punk.
No, not him. The big
Oh,
guy.
Brock
The big,
Lesnar. Yeah, Brock
yeah,
Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar. I mean, he's juiced to the gills, and
Oh yeah.
they let him. They let him compete juiced.
I
I
felt
mean,
very bad
obviously,
for Mark Hunt because they didn't let Mark Hunt know before that fight that he had tested positive. Then afterwards, he finds out. He sued the UFC for that and lost. I thought
which is
that,
which is unfortunate.
yeah, he should have won. He should have definitely gotten something.
Oh yeah,
Because like he could have died. Anytime these guys get in there, it's you're risking everything.
it's true. It's true. I know. But yeah, and as we were talking before, I can't remember whether we were recording or not. Is I'd like to see more Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guys learn to work an MMA guard, either
Oh
pull
yeah,
the guy in close or keep distance. I hate when they advertise the fighters as BJJ black belts, and then they get pounded out inside the guard, like they're on their back and they're getting pounded out.
yeah,
And they need to learn to fight more, focusing more on the stand up. Carlson used to say, when on top, stay on top.
yeah,
You don't want to be pulling guard. MMA and the street are not places where you want to be pulling guard. Just, this guard pulling stuff is going to stop.
yeah.
I
Not
want to
not
see
at this
takedowns.
level. Back in the day, yeah, you catch a lot of guys, but yeah, I can see it. What do you think about combat jiu-jitsu for some of these guys as an in-between before they go into MMA then, where they have the open palm strikes and
I think it's good to get them prepared to get hit
yeah,
because a lot of BJJ guys, they've been doing BJJ for, let's say, 15, 20 years. Then they get into MMA and they've never been punched in the face,
yeah,
you know. And Carlson used to say, you get punched, you're a black belt, you get punched in the face once, then you're a brown belt. Get punched again, then you're a purple belt. You know what I'm saying? It's
yeah,
almost like you need to know what it's like to get hit. Now, you don't want to get hit 100%, but the open hand slapping,
yeah,
which stings, but the idea is to get the reaction for you to defend the slap. And we're not talking power slap,
yeah,
Dana White's power slap thing. We're talking about in the guard doing this kind of thing, or put gloves on and hit the face.
yeah,
But you're training. You're not trying to knock your partner out,
yeah,
but hit him so he feels it. So you get a reaction. The key is to get the reaction
yeah.
and then teach them how to defend against that stuff.
You know,
It
you know Brock
frustrates me.
Lesnar. Brock Lesnar, even though he wasn't a jiu-jitsu guy, he was a wrestling guy. I was watching fights with my sensei, and he watched it. We watched the fight. Shane Carwin. He had went the distance of Shane Carwin. Shane gasses out, and my sensei, he says, "Look at that." He said, because he does more than just judo. He did some MMA and things too. He goes, "Look at this. This guy doesn't like to get hit in the face. He closes his eyes. He turns his head." He goes, "As soon as he gets in there with Kane, Kane's going to destroy him." I said, "I don't think so. He's too big." He said, "Mike," he said, "bet everything, every penny that you can find, bet it on Cain
Okay.
Velasquez." He said, "I'll bet all the stripes on my black belts that Cain Velasquez knocks him out." And
Yeah.
I wish
Yeah.
I would
Well,
have.
things happen, and MMA is going through some big changes, some up and coming stars. Uh, it's kind of disappointing with Peter Yan. Peter Yan was a beast,
Oh
and
yeah,
it's now, I don't know what's happened to him. I want to see him come back to the top.
me too.
Davison Figueiredo had a good fight the other night.
I love Devison. Yeah, he choked out Cody
He's
Garbrandt. Everybody thought that was going to be a knockout.
well, Cody, it's all mental.
Yeah.
With Cody, he needs a sports therapist. He has all the skills, but there's something going on up here.
Yeah.
He
Seems
needs
like it.
therapy to for confidence, or to train him how to think better, because he has a skill set.
Yeah.
Yes, Cody Garbrandt, he has the skill set.
Yeah.
But I think ever since not Cejudo, who was it? The guy,
TJ
CJ
Dillashaw knocked him out.
Dillashaw, whatever,
Yeah.
TJ Dillashaw
Yeah.
took his soul.
Yeah.
I think he took his soul. And ever since that fight, I don't think, I mean, he did beat, technically, his best fight was against the announcer there. What's his name?
Dominic Cruz.
Yeah, Dominic
Yeah.
Cruz. That was a classic. That was a beautiful fight by
Absolutely.
Cody. Very smart fight.
Yeah.
He needs to get back to that. He
Yeah.
needs to watch that fight over and over and
Yeah.
get that fight in his head
Yeah.
and get a sports psychologist to work with him. And he's going to learn not to get hit, which I'm going to be honest with you. When I look at Alpha Male, after Ludwig left and went to Colorado with TJ Dillashaw, they lost one of the best strikers.
Oh, yeah.
Because
he's an amazing striking coach.
Yeah. He really good. And I don't know who they have now, but they need to find good striking coaches, for these guys. Because they tend to mostly be a grappling school, which is nothing wrong with that, but fights start standing up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Throwing punches and kicks. And I wish more people would use kicks. It's a dangerous weapon. It's a good weapon.
Yeah.
Especially against people who have good movement. The way to beat an O'Malley is with kicks. You need to chop him down a little bit, get those legs hurting so that he can't move as fast.
Yeah, I expected Aljamain to do more of that, but like I said, he decided he was going to get in a slugging match with him.
Yeah, and he should have worked his wrestling.
Yeah, absolutely.
You go in with a jab, cross, and then right away, takedown right away.
Yeah,
and
he looked like he learned his lesson against Calvin Kattar.
Oh, yeah. Calvin Kattar is tough as nails.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Man,
but anyway, it's 6:22 when I get somewhere I got to teach a class in about a half an hour.
Oh, wow. Oh, I better let you go. So, but hey.
Well, how long have we been on?
Let me see if I got it reset. So, but I know we've been recording for over an hour, probably an hour and a half.
Yeah, but if you ever need a fight companion, I'll be happy to get on with you, jump on, and we can analyze the fights together. And let me know how this goes. If people have questions or concerns, I showed you my ID to prove who I am. People might try to, who is this person? They're not on the Gracie tree. And not every Gracie family member is on the Gracie tree.
Yeah.
Especially
you
those.
You proved. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially those who check out my Facebook, Carlan Gracie. You'll see I'm with family members. I don't feel I have anything to prove. Anybody that says otherwise can go take a leap. But I'm not trying to get attention. I don't make money off my name. Like, I don't sell merchandise. I do seminars, sure, but I do that based off of my talent and skill.
Yeah.
Not off the name. And there are other people that do seminars that don't have the same name that are very successful.
Yeah.
So people can go jump in the lake if they want to criticize or whatever. But if people have questions, please below in the comment section. If you want me back on, there's certain questions you want to ask. You know, I'm an open book. I mean, I have nothing to hide. I live in Brazil. You know, I live here, and life is good. I even got my gi pants on, and right behind me on my chair here is my kimono. Oh, I got my kimono
Nice.
set and ready to go with my logo.
Beautiful.
Yep, so I get everything set and ready to go.
I love that people
And
are still using the gi.
well, I mean, you know what? I like gi and I like no gi.
Yeah, I like both too.
You know, I like doing a combination of both.
Yeah,
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu has 4 aspects to it. People don't know. They have no gi, MMA, and then they have street self-defense. You know, against knives, guns, clubs, on a bus, in a car, on the sidewalk. You know, they have street self-defense as well. So people have to know that that's part of it as well.
yeah. All right. Well, I don't want to make you late, but thank you so much. And I appreciate that offer. I will definitely take you up on that. So,
Well, you come to Rio, let me know. And if any of your
absolutely.
visitors are interested, check out my Facebook page under the name Carlan Gracie. I have a lot of friends, so if you want to be my friend, just send me a message, like an MSN message or whatever, like you did, and you want to chat. I'm always an open book for people. If there are other people that have podcasts, I'm always open to talk about fighting, MMA, jiu-jitsu, you name it. I love talking about it. It's a pleasure. And I want to thank you, Michael. Please, guys, comments below about this. And I want to thank Michael for giving me the opportunity to visit and talk with you all tonight.
Well, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. Carlan Gracie, everyone.
All right. Thank you so much. I'm off to teach my class. All right. Take care, people. Ciao, ciao.
All right. Thank you.